Welcome back to Women's Growth Series. I'm Isabel Williams with That Does Deals. I'm Chris Griffith's other better half.
Much better.
And I'm actually here with Elizabeth Cassidy, and I'll let her introduce herself.
Hi, Elizabeth Cassidy with Future Home Loans based out of Space Coast in Florida.
Okay. Yeah, we're actually neighbors. We found this out, I think, while we were at an event in Atlanta with each other.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize we were so close.
We live like 30 minutes apart. I could just come out with you.
So we definitely one day when we're not crazy busy have to do lunch or dinner. I'm down with whichever.
Let's schedule that in 2024.
Yes.
On the calendar.
All right, so we're going to be discussing VettedVA, what it is, and I guess what the goals are. So I'll let you start, Elizabeth. What is VettedVA?
VettedVA is, when I describe it as kind of like a powerhouse. We have so much knowledge. We're a group of professionals, mortgage, real estate professionals that came together and collectively decided that we were sick of the constant misinformation regarding veteran buyers in the home market and veteran consumers being taken advantage of by some of these other companies that just don't have their best interest at heart. So there's a group of originals. I think, Isabel, you were one of them, the OGs, not involved, and we're like, look, we're gonna make a community essentially, and that's how we started. We're just a community of people that came together and decided that we're gonna share our knowledge, we're gonna hold each other accountable, we're gonna educate each other, and then we're gonna educate our consumers. So
yeah, I gotta agree. I kind of feel like of course, VettedVA being Chris's baby, this was his brainchild. And it just kind of, from what I remember, it was born out of frustration, where you have all these veterans just not really thoroughly educated on their benefit, what they can and can't do, and what's considered good and bad, right? Which is really a hard thing to define. But there are, sadly, I think, if people can take advantage, they will. It's just natural.
Yeah.
So I really remember him just being really upset about how much, loan churning was happening, people being robbed of the equity of their homes. Like, he was really passionate about that. And
he gets pretty fired up.
He does. He really does. Like, he's so serious about it. And, so it really, once I understood that what he wanted to do was educate the consumer, it was easy for me to actually jump in and want to help. Because it wasn't self-serving any longer, which sadly, in this industry, it's kind of hard not to be, right? But that was being like the big goal of just being a good place for them, a safe place for them to come ask questions and not be attacked or solicited or any of that stuff that kind of happens, right? He didn't care whether we did the loan or not. He just wanted to make sure they had access to the resources.
Yeah, so you jump into any other, and we're Facebook based. I guess we should put that out there. We're a community on Facebook. We are 42,000 strong now.
I think so. It's definitely over 40,000 for sure. It's a lot of people in there.
40,000 people nationwide that are all veterans that have all joined into this Facebook group, and they don't all stay for life. Like, they come in when they need the help, they get served, they get taught, and then most of them bounce. But we are this network and organization of people, and it's like you said, it's really easy to be self-serving. Like, if I'm gonna sprinkle this advice on you, what am I getting in return? And that's not what VettedVA focuses on.
No, I think people lose or don't even realize that really what it is an education community. So, and I, even on me, like when he first started describing the group, I'm like, that doesn't make sense.
You can't guarantee me leads. You can't
Like,
guarantee
how does this work?
And that's why there is a need for it, is because a lot of other platforms that you jump into, they almost dangle their expertise in front of you, but until you get to using me, you can't tap into my brain power.
Correct.
That's not what we are about at all. We don't ever ask about who's let me do it for you. It's, hey, This is the knowledge. These are the facts. You take it for what it's worth and you run with it, regardless if you're using someone in our community or you're not.
Yes, yes, completely agreed. So yes, so I would say, just as a summary, VettedVA to me is it's an education platform, right? It's a resource to veterans and professionals, because I know that I've learned a lot, and I do a lot of VA loans, right? I've learned a lot of things that I didn't know I could do, right? I had a good knowledge about the program, but actually getting involved in the community, becoming a teacher required me to actually learn the topic that I was teaching.
Mm-hmm.
So it's made me even better at my job. So I would definitely say, to me, it's an education platform.
Yeah, it is. And you and I, as well, we're both prior military in our own branches. And so
I know I don't look at it anymore, but yeah.
And this was before babies, before all the things that we were 18 years old and now you were like, I'm not in the military. But after you put on the uniform and you take it off, you still live that lifestyle and you still want to take care of your people because you remember what it's like when you were in those roles. So
Yeah.
for me, when I jumped into VettedVA, it was when it was fairly new, less than a year old.
Yeah.
But I was just in there soaking up as much advice and reading through the threads at night and offering my advice where I could. Me personally, I had used my VA loan several times, so just the things that I learned each time, because you do learn something, usually something that you shouldn't have done.
Yeah.
So offering all that advice, and that's when Chris reached out to me and was like, "Hey, let me finish teaching you because you have a good baseline." Like you said, like you knew a lot, but you didn't know all of it.
Yes, you know enough to be dangerous. Why would you say that there's a need for a group like VettedVA?
I mean, we could talk for a long time about places that do it different. I'll put that in a very PC manner, if you would.
Mhm.
But VettedVA really does serve differently. It's You won't find yourself being solicited against if you post questions and you ask for help or you give your feedback needing something different. Any one of our VettedVA professionals, if they reach out to you privately and solicit you, Chris has no tolerance for that, and neither does the rest of us in the community. We are only there to tell you what is truth and what is not truth and how to best protect yourself, because at the end of the day, it's the veterans' benefit, right? This is their baby that they've earned. The lenders, I mean, we're held to a standard, but at the end of the day, if there's no military benefit to take away from a lender that gave bad advice, like who's going to eventually suffer for it? It's the veterans. So we created it because, I mean, Chris will say it best. He was so sick of seeing veterans targeted against, and they go into groups or they reach out to lenders and they ask questions, and it was like that carrot stick, like, I have your answers, but if you don't let me do your loan or let me sell you that house, I'm not going to tell you.
Yeah.
And Chris had it. So I'm making my own baby, and we're just going to come from a place of helping. And that's why so many people love our community, just because they know it's a safe place.
It's a safe place. I mean, Chris loves using this really strong word, molested. He says it all the time. And it's really uncomfortable, but that's really what it is, right? You're taking advantage of someone because they don't have the information to protect themselves or to know right from wrong. So that was like, for me, as far as like the need for the group, was really just being able to create a community where people felt safe and not have to be worried that they would be taken advantage of. And there's always that need, I think, in whatever community you serve, to really just help people without looking out for your own best interest.
Yeah, there always has to be someone that's kind of riding around with a higher purpose.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's Chris makes everyone that's involved in his VettedVA community, even the veterans that are coming in. Like, we have a set of rules and standards, and the very first one that he will pound into everyone's head is that Mima,
No cussing,
is watching. Yeah, no. I mean, and you have to. The outside world has to understand. It may seem like really childish and silly that most of us are prior military. Like, we have sailors' mouths to us, but when you're this large of an entity on a social media platform, you are watched with a different level of
just more scrutinized.
Yes.
Yeah.
Chris says it all the time. Nima's watching, and we've gotten together as a group of VettedVA professionals, and Nima has shown up. And
yeah, she's a real person.
She is a real person. We still don't
Grandma is real
in front of her. But even as our people that we're serving, we have standards as to just being respectful to everyone that's offering advice and trusting us. And that's kind of our motto, is to trust but verify. Is they can trust us and know that we've done our due diligence with each other to verify that what we are all saying is true. And I mean, some of the stuff that the average consumer doesn't see, but we have chat groups going at all times with VA professionals, and we check each other all the time and make sure that what we are giving out is the absolute best sounding for the consumer.
Agreed, because there's so much misinformation. I mean, because there's so much information.
Yes.
You don't really know whether or not it's correct or not. So I think it just kind of still goes back to the same thing, just being a unbiased education platform to just help improve people's access to information with that. That's it. Like literally that's it. There's no underlying desire other than to educate. Like we just want to teach, so I definitely think that there was such a big need, and there always will be, of just good, solid information without the biased interest that might be self-serving, right?
Yeah. Well, and when we talk about self-serving, we're like legit talking, when we're all professionals, we're talking about people just assuming that they're going to be given leads or loans or real estate contracts or clients or whatever. And there's no tolerance for that with VettedVA, because Chris does not, and he'll say it very upfront. I don't care if you never get a loan out of this entire platform. That's not the purpose of it. So no one in it truly serving and doing what they need to do has the expectation that they're going to get anything back in return. The benefit for us is going to be in 5-10 years, when so much of this misinformation has gotten so bright in bold letters that all of these other slime ball, can I say that? All these other lenders are doing it, that are pulling a fast one over people, will realize that organizations like VettedVA have a big enough voice now where we will immediately call it and tell them they know. And so hopefully the mindset is that eventually that kind of stuff will change, because we've stepped into it enough and told everyone enough and educated that it's not okay.
Yeah. An educated consumer is an empowered consumer. So, Elizabeth, what drew you to join? I know you said Chris had reached out to you, but what made you want to be a part of it?
At the time, I didn't realize that there was a true educated professional versus a homeowner. And really, I joined the VA at the very beginning because while I was in mortgage, I was also in the process of doing some stuff with our own VA financing. My husband and I are both military, and so it gets just a different layer of stickiness, if you would, when you're dual to dual like that. So I joined the community before we had a separate community built around the professionals. But I didn't advertise myself to be a professional. I was just in there layering on advice and adding just like little nuggets of things that I had learned as a mom.
As a veteran, as a home buyer, you were just kind of adding what you had learned as an actual consumer versus a professional. As a consumer,
and then being able to flip it and see it on the other side too. That I understand why we have these rules, and I understand why the VA loan is looked at in this light for a different variety of things. But Isabel, you are one of the original grandchildren-ish, if you would, with Chris when he decided to create this beauty.
He bullied me into it, and that's my story. No, just kidding. Actually, I'd gotten a chance to meet Chris in person. He is that person all the time. He's really weird, right? Like he's a little aggressive. He's a little passionate. And I just remember sitting there, was actually the only female in the group at the time. And I'm just kind of looking around, and it's weird. It felt like being back in the military.
Yeah. You're surrounded by the good old guys all the time.
Yeah. So, this is always an emotional topic for me, but I've lost friends in service, and some really passionate about the benefits that we've earned You know, they're not just given to us. Some of us have literally sacrificed our lives. And, you know, I think that I felt everything that Chris was passionate about, angry about, even, right? And so just being able to relate to it in that sense. You know, I've lost battle buddies in the process. And so when I see veterans being taken advantage of, it does, you know, really piss me off.
Yeah.
Excuse me for saying that, but you know, it was really, really, I could empathize 100%, you know, with where he was coming from and what his goal was that he had set in mind. So I was in 100% the first time he, you know, asked me to join, because it definitely was something that was really important to me as well. You know, a lot of times we just see people um, get taken advantage of. I don't know what else to call it. And, you know, because they lack so much education, there's no way for you to teach against it, because we are like right going into the military. When you're being processed, the first bank on site was USAA. I had not known anything other than that. So I remember getting out, and as far as I was concerned, they were the beginning and the end.
They were the only
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't do my research had I not been in the industry. Had I not known what I know now, I can see how someone can fall into um, the marketing that happens from the very moment we step foot into joining the military.
And I mean, I wish I could say I hate using this term, but I kind of don't, because it's just flat out true. It's the targeting. It's
Mhm.
these organizations that have coined themselves military this and military that, won
Yeah.
whatever contract they needed to win to be able to get on base, or
Yeah.
to be able to advertise and to make it seem as if they're the only option.
Yes.
And we have learned through all of our hard work that they are not the best option, and we're not afraid to tell people that we know how to make sure that they are absolutely protected. And you said it really well. We've earned these benefits. They weren't just automatically written off and handed the day that you enlisted, or else a lot more people would do it. They were earned hardcore,
Yeah.
and so that's what Chris really hones in on. And so when he's looking for people to join and to grow our reach, if you would, he's looking for people that come from that level of service. Like, above anything else, if you get nothing out of this, I want you to know that you are helping the people that have earned what they've earned.
Yeah.
And it's, to me, it's a no-brainer. If we can help even one veteran not get taken advantage of, absolutely sign me up, because there are enough slime ball. Nima would approve of that language. Slime ball lenders out there that are, you know, call themselves patriots and take cool pictures in front of flags and whatever else they do. And we appreciate the love and support, but we need them to have a moral compass at the same time. And all too often we find out that they don't. So Chris really keeps the moral compass of VettedVA.
Yeah, so I would definitely say that, you know, my attraction to it was his level of commitment to serving. And like I said, just having actually been through active service itself, having seen the fallout of being in the service, and knowing that there are moments when our benefits are taken advantage of, right? And people not really understanding the commitment that we've made to earn the benefit that we have. It's disheartening sometimes. So that really was it. I felt what he was saying, and I was like, "Yep, sign me up. What do you want me to do?" So yeah, definitely one of the first few in the group. But as time progressed and it started growing, it was like, oh my God, we need more help, because there's so much more to do, and only a few can't accomplish all those goals. So
Isabel is one of the OGs. The party starts when Isabel gets there. You know that it's a legit VettedVA event.
All right, so we were talking about let's go on to the next topic. What's the most rewarding part of being in VettedVA for you?
I mean, and I think we've hit on it a ton, but in
Yeah.
all honesty, just knowing that people, they can come to us with questions. I've had consumers that reached out to me just for questions and they're weeks into the process and we just have a conversation. I walk them through it, I explain it. And I get those phone calls after when they close and they're like, thank you for helping and telling me that. And that's the best thing,
Yeah.
knowing in your little mind you can check another VA client that is not taken advantage of.
Yeah. So I actually, one of my uncles did his full 23, maybe 25 years. And he's been out for a little while. And he called me yesterday. He's buying a house out in Tampa. And he says, so who should I use for my mortgage?
I don't know if you know this.
Yes.
Your mortgages in the state of Florida. Isabel, if you need someone though, I can call him tomorrow. I got time.
Yeah, he's so funny like that. Like he's old school, right? He is a USA advocate. Like, he did his time.
Mm-hmm.
Like he is a veteran through and through, right? And so it's funny having the conversation with him last night because he's not going to call someone else because he loves me on top of the trust part, and to be able to be unbiased and say to him, look, Uncle Howard, go ahead and get pre-approved where you feel comfortable, and then send me the information, and I will walk you through that. Prior to being a part of VettedVA, I may have actually taken it really personal. That he wouldn't automatically just use me, right? Now it is really just coming from an education standpoint, period. I might not be the best for him. I don't know. But I want him to do his due diligence and find comfort in the fact that he can reach out to me and allow me to help him through the process, whether I end up doing the loan for him or not.
And know that you're going to have an unbiased set of eyes on that piece of paper.
Yep.
Just knowing that you can dissect it line by line and let them know what is and is not acceptable.
Correct. Yeah.
Yep.
So to really grow, I think that has been for me the most rewarding part of it, to truly grow and to no longer look at things as I used to, because I'm just as guilty as everybody else. Oh my God, the next deal, always wanting to make sure that I got the loan. That desire is just, it's not there. If I can help you, if we can build a good relationship, if you trust me and I can serve you, awesome. If we haven't been able to make that connection and you don't feel like you can trust me, I don't want to do the loan, right?
Yeah, you want them to be comfortable.
I want them to be comfortable.
Us as the professionals in the organization, when we have that confidence level, knowing that, like, listen, what I am telling you from mortgage professional to consumer, this is the process. But if you want to verify what I'm saying, I will open up to another entity of 200 plus other professionals that you are happy to talk to and see who fits your needs best. But at the end of the day, we're all going to give you the same information because we all know it to be true directly from the source. So that level of like confidence boost, knowing like what I'm telling you is 100% true fact. I'm not trying to pull a fast one on me because I have 200 plus accountability partners, and if we're trying to do something crazy, we would all catch it, and it would be public knowledge real quick.
Yes. So definitely the level of scrutiny, like it makes you be the best at your job. It's an open platform. If you fail, you will be critiqued, not just by the consumer, but by your
peers as
like,
well.
Yeah, so it definitely, like I said, for me, it's just been just growing on the product knowledge, on growing more in my real desire to help people versus saying you want to help them, but not really meaning it.
To our last topic, because I know that as we've grown, even the last year, a lot of professionals have been like, yo, I agree with your mission. I like where you're coming from. How do I become part of it? how would you answer that for them?
There is a vetting process. What I do know is that the professionals that are already in the group have eyes on other professionals that they think would be a good fit for the culture. So that's kind of where the initial introduction comes from. But even with the initial introduction, there's still a process of going through and making sure that the mission of the group is really understood, right? Because it's not what some people I've heard call it. It's not a lead generation platform at all. You may never get a loan out of that group ever. But what
Mhm.
will happen is,
Expected.
yeah, you're going to grow
Yep.
personally, professionally, because it forces you to come from a place of giving.
Mhm. I would tell people I've had a couple of people reach out to me personally and ask about it, both in the mortgage space and in the real estate space. And I've told people, you have to look more at yourself. I had no idea what VettedVA was at the very beginning of it. I just
Mhm.
knew that I had knowledge to give, and I knew that my advice was good and it was going to help people not make the same mistakes that I made.
Yeah.
So if you can't come to anything in your life with a true servant platform, if you would, um,
Yep.
to know that you just want to serve people and there's nothing for you on the back end. Like your ROI expectations should just be zero because
Yeah.
you may not get anything out of it, but you have to know that you are, like you said, growing as a professional and truly helping people, and you're helping end that stigma of the VA loan is the worst loan to do. It's the hardest. There's
Mhm.
high fees, it's high this, it's garbage all around the board. Like you're doing
Yeah.
your part in that and ending that status quo because we don't want that to be the memo, if you would, that people are marching around spewing about the vetted VA or about the
Just
VA,
about the VA loan itself, correct. Like
about the VA
like you
loan.
said, there's so much stigma related to VA loans that, joining the group, what it does help is re-educate you to the truth, right? So VA loans are the worst loans. They ask for too much. You can't do this and you can't do that. And actually going in and practicing it on a daily basis, seeing different scenarios, hearing different situations that are transpiring, and just educating from that perspective is massive. Like, I mean, the shift in my business alone, even with me being a veteran, right, and having veteran friends, it was possibly maybe 10% of my business. It's easily 25% of my business now,
Yeah.
just because I'm more confident on that topic.
Yep.
So when I talk to a realtor or even another lender, there's nothing that can tell me that I haven't either already experienced or know how to go find.
Yes. Or know how to help veterans overcome because there are certain pieces of it that
Yeah.
we have to be able to help them navigate through. And
Hmm.
some lenders and professionals like shiver away from VA loans when they get them.
Yeah.
And the members of the vetted VA professional organization were like, bring it on. We do this all the time. We know what to do. If I'm confused on something, I got 200
Hmm.
of my friends back here that I can call and get help with anytime.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing.
It is. So definitely if someone's thinking about joining, they're interested, reach out to someone that you know that's already a part of the group. Get their honest feedback. You want to make sure that this is something that you are ready to commit to, because there are levels of commitment that come along with it, right? There's certain rules we have to abide by that do trickle over into the professional side of our businesses. So, do you really want to be held accountable by your peers?
Everyone should want to, but
Mhm.
sometimes the stress of it will make you buckle. And if you don't know anyone in the organization, you reach out to us.
Yes,
I'm
definitely, for
pretty
sure.
easy to get a hold of. Send me a message, send Isabel a message.
Yep.
So I think
Well,
we've exceeded our time expectations. We talked about this for
yes, we did.
hours.
Yeah. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today for another episode of the Women's Growth Series. Brokers, if you want to get caught up on all the past episodes, please head over to AIME's YouTube channel. We're going to be on YouTube. And make sure you tune in next week for another great episode of episodes of Women's Growth Series.